What is up, PSU and world? We are Pop Culture Corner. My name is Troy, and this week I'm joined by
Matt and Ethan.
And we're here to bring you all the pop culture news, ranging from movies, TV, and a little bit of music this week. And so let's just kick it right off, guys. We got to start it on a little bit of a sad note. Hollywood lost one of our actors yesterday, and recently, and Bill Paxton. And you may know him from Twister or Aliens, but apparently it was due to heart complications. It's really sad.
That's my understanding. And I actually hadn't even really realized I was a fan of his until I looked up who he was on IMDb and realized he was in Hatfields and McCoys, which was something I was a huge fan of. So even though I wasn't super familiar with his work, it was still sad to hear of a good actor's passing.
He was in a lot of really good movies. I mean, he was in Aliens. He also was in Titanic, so he was in a lot of James Cameron's works.
That's true.
He was also, by the way, one of the guys from the original Terminator, as well as in the second Predator movie, which means that he is the only actor in Hollywood who was killed by a Terminator, Xenomorph, and Predator, which I think is a pretty good accomplishment.
That's a pretty big one. And a lot of people got him known from Twister, and we actually found a picture of it that a lot of people actually got together that were storm chasers and made a bunch of pings in, like, crossing state lines, I believe. I think it was in Oklahoma, and whatever's right above it, but the actual spelled out his initials BP, which was a little bit of a cool tribute to him.
Yeah.
So. But we'll go on ahead and move on to a little bit of a happier note to upcoming movies, like what's coming out this week or what to look for, because we will not be airing for spring break, so things to look forward to. And one of my big ones that I've been looking forward to for a long time was Jordan Peele's directing debut, Get Out. He's mostly known for comedy with Key and Peele, but he's doing his horror movie, and it's the only movie so far to get 100% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. The only unfortunate thing, I was trying to see it all weekend when it came out on Friday. You can't find it within 150 miles of State College anywhere playing in theaters.
That is a shame.
Seriously. I just only recently that I even heard of it in the first place, but it looks so good. And, Jordan Peele really got his chance to actually get a feel for how to direct different styles of film and television whenever he was on Key and Peele. And my understanding is that even though it's his first time behind the camera for a film, he's really kind of showing a lot of strength right out of the gate.
I mean, that is very impressive to get, first directorial debut, you get 100% Rotten Tomatoes. That is very good.
Especially for a horror movie.
Right.
Exactly.
He's taking it out of his comfort zone of normal humor, I guess. And from what I've already heard and talking to different people, there is a little bits of humor in the movie, so you see it shine through, but it's overall a thriller movie, so it's something really to look forward to. And while you're on spring break, if you're going home and you have a theater near you, hopefully you get a chance to check it out.
Yeah, meanwhile, I'm most excited for seeing Logan, which is coming out over spring break. I am very excited to see that. It's supposedly the last Hugh Jackman movie as Wolverine.
And it just recently came out that it's going to be the last movie that Patrick Stewart appears in as Professor
X. That is
X
true, too. So, I mean, two of the great X-Men stars, this is going to be their final bout, but I'm telling you what, from what I've heard so far from people who've already seen the movie, it is going to be amazing. As far as I've heard, it's not going to be one of those big CGI super intense save the world type deal. It's instead going to be a more down-to-earth, grounded superhero movie, which I like. I think it's a lot different than what we've seen before, especially in the X-Men movies.
And it's especially cool that directors are more willing to take a chance at R-rated superhero movies with the success of Deadpool.
Right. But it's going to be a little bit of a raunchier. And I've heard actually it's turned into more of the modern Western style is what it's shot to, the old Clint Eastwood Western styles of the days. And one more movie to check out while we're on spring break?
Well, for me also, I think Kong Skull Island is going to be pretty cool too.
Yes.
I have mixed feelings. I'm hoping it's good. It looks cool, but I don't know.
We'll see. It's one of those. It's one of those that's up in the air with that right now. But let's go ahead and move on to a little bit more. There have been a few problems in the world of the superhero movies on the DC side. Now, actually, yesterday there were some reviews already coming out, people seeing the Wonder Woman movie, and so far the reviews have been positive. Now, Suicide Squad and Batman v Superman had a very limited screening for press, so they didn't get a lot of word out there beforehand. Suicide Squad had none that the critics were able to see beforehand, and so this time they let people come in and see Wonder Woman, and they said so far it's the best of the DC movies, which isn't saying too much.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Like, DC is just running into all kinds of problems because they took now the Flash movie that they had, went completely back to script. Like, they started over from scratch. And also with Batman, they lost their director. They lost Ben Affleck as director.
Which is a real shame because, in my opinion, Ben Affleck was one of the few things that Batman vs. Superman actually got right, and he's shown a lot of skill as a director and an actor at the same time.
Now he does. Now, to be fair, he does say that what he wants to do with this is that he doesn't want like his attention to be split between acting and directing,
Right.
which is why he dropped out. He's still going to be acting in it, and he's still going to be pretty good. But I personally think that Matt Reeves is going to be a pretty good choice. I mean, he did Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. He's going to do War for the Planet of the Apes.
And Cloverfield, he directed the original Cloverfield
Right.
as well.
So, I mean, he is a very talented director. And I think that, this style, I think Ben Affleck's more comfortable with. And it's what he thinks is going to get the better product out. So there's still hope out there that this Batman movie is still going to be pretty good.
There is still hope, but I think one of the things is, I think like it's a cop-out on Ben Affleck's fault to say that, to try and save face a little bit with the studio, because I feel like one of the biggest problems with it is there's too many hands in the kitchen. We saw it a lot, like everybody, all these directors that are trying to take on these not Marvel movies have been saying like, oh, the studio won't let me make the movie I want to make. Like, they just won't, like everybody's trying to put their own input into it, which is kind of tearing these things apart.
What they need is they need someone like Kevin Feige, who's somebody whose like mission is to make good, fun movies that all have a clear purpose. Because the problem is, like you said, there's too many hands in the kitchen. Like, you have movies that are tonally unbalanced compared to each other. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I think that like movies like Man of Steel could have been a lot better had people like Zack Snyder been more willing to, embrace the comic bookness of these kind of movies. Because in the bottom line, that these are still superheroes, and you still gotta have some fun with the world around them. It can't all be dark and gritty.
True, but I'm part of the lower level, like the bottom line there, that actually liked Man of Steel. I thought it was a good direction, but again, I think it all just kind of blows back to too many hands in the kitchen and just the studio not trusting the process and trying to force it. And so I think that's just one of the huge issues. But let's go ahead and move on to now the world of television with one of my actual favorite shows, and I loved it. Wasn't a big fan of last season, but I like the change. But it's American Horror Story. Just dropped now I'm not sure if it's 100% confirmed that this is what the next season is going to be, but this is what everything is showing, that it is going to be based off of the 2016 elections, or at least election process.
The series creator, Ryan Murphy, made an appearance on a talk show, and when he was asked about what the next season would be about, he said that in one way or another it was going to explore the ideas that we might have seen come forward in the 2016 election.
Right.
Now, he didn't say whether or not Donald Trump would make an appearance. He didn't say for sure one way or the other. But I guess we're going to see some more political aspect in this next season.
I think he's leaning more towards them not appearing, because it wasn't necessarily about Clinton and Trump. It's about like the public's reaction to that and how this election has kind of divided us as a country.
I don't know if it's just me though. I feel like this story is a lot better suited to American Crime Story.
If it's even suited for that at all.
I mean, if you look at it, like with the OJ thing, it's something that was very controversial. I know one of the things they're doing for the next season for American Crime Story is everything that happened after Katrina.
Right.
But I feel like it's one of those, like, maybe it's better suited towards that, with everything that, like, did Russia really tap into all this, like playing into both sides and the nitty gritty of what all happened there.
You see, I don't even know if it's entirely fair to try to portray it on television yet, because the fact of the matter is the story hasn't even concluded in the real world.
That is true.
And to try to adapt it in something that's, as audacious as American Horror Story tends to be, I feel like it might just be a grab for viewership. And if there's one thing that this kind of story needs in a media perspective, it's subtlety. And that's just not something that American Horror Story has ever really been strong with.
To keep in mind, American Horror Stories, a lot of it's like, kind of fictionalized elements.
Right.
Like American Crime Story, like you said, is more like kind of true to how it happened in real life. And I feel like that would be much better suited for, something that did happen in real life. That was a pretty big deal. But you're right. I think it's definitely a story that needs to be told. I don't know if right now is necessarily the good time for it because, like you said, still, we're still kind of coming off of that. And, things could still change. But I think that it's overall a good idea to, sort of dive into how this has affected American society.
My other thing too, well, all right, there's that. My other thing too is it really a thing that can carry a strength through the whole season? I feel like maybe it can be like an episode or a 2-episode arc. I feel like maybe because a lot of it deals with supernatural aspects of it, excuse me. And so I feel like maybe it's a little bit weird for them to be grounded that much in reality and something weird like that. But we'll go ahead and move on to our very last bit of news segment for in the music world. Chance the Rapper just did really well in the Grammys. A lot of people are loving him. Actually refused a $10 million label deal. So Matt, you want to give us a little bit more on what happened in there?
Well, I think it's really interesting because, Chance was already getting a lot of accolades and a lot of attention for having one of the first streaming-only album to be nominated for the Grammys the categories in which he was nominated.
Right.
And if you listen to Chance's music, he often takes pride in the fact that he doesn't have these multi-million record label deals, and he doesn't have the kind of network that can support albums released under those kinds of conditions. And I think it really speaks to his character and that he's willing to, practice what he preaches. He talks a lot about taking pride in being an independent artist, and it's nice to see someone who, even when they have the chance to sell out, for lack of a better terms, he's still stuck to his guns.
I mean, not many people would turn down $10 million. I mean,
I
don't even know if I would. But, I mean, that's great that he's, kind of following what he wants to do.
Right. It's really cool when people can stay, grounded to really what they want to do in, like, the music. Like, when Lady Gaga kind of got out of the whole thing and revamped herself all by herself, it's kind of cool. Yeah. And look what she does now. So that's going to wrap it up for today's news segment, guys. But stick around. We got a little bit more for you.
So today we're checking out some hidden gems today. Have you seen Nice Guys?
I have seen The Nice Guys. I was one of the few who saw it in theaters.
That's true.
The Nice Guys, to put it short, it's a 1970s period piece about two guys working together to try to solve the murder mystery of a dead porn star. It's not a PG movie, mind you.
Again, a little raunchy for some folks, but I mean, Shane Black is not a director that I'm usually common with, but I enjoyed the movie. Do you know any other pieces that he's done before?
He's done Iron Man 3, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. The movie has Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe in it, two maybe not your ordinary picks for comedic roles, but they work well. I think they work well. Russell kind of has this more stoic approach, which comes off as some very salty, fun banter with Ryan Gosling, whereas he goes into the more physical comedy, which some of the physical comedy's great.
True, and plus I also was liking the idea of Ryan Gosling having to be, having to actually play as a, just like emotional character, definitely, which I thought was kind of funny. And even some of the dialogue between the characters, it was just hilarious at times.
Yeah, it really bounced. It's a funny duo because they like I said before, they are so unlikely that the way that they talk to each other and other characters, it's really funny. And as you were saying, that dialogue does not really promote bringing the family, let's say.
Don't bring the kids.
Lots of raunchy stuff in there. You're gonna expect some F-bombs. Don't bring the family to this one.
But the other thing that I also liked about it that some movies don't really do is that they don't balance some character development along with the humor as well. So it's like usually it's the same kind of humor that you're hearing and it's a 2-hour movie. So you want it to still stay fresh in your mind and you don't want to just start dozing off. So that did a pretty good job.
That's the one thing that I was very pleasantly appreciative of is the movie's length, because a lot of movies, for whatever reason, have this thing about going over 2 hours, and once you get going over 2 hours, sometimes if it's not that great, it's just you're just gonna start losing interest. Yeah, and this one ended, I think, with the perfect amount of time.
I can agree, especially because you have that 70s cop duo. Again, you said we've seen it, and we need to make sure that that we keep it moving, and we make sure the movie goes along. But I think that's all the time we have here. So yeah, pleasure having you here, buddy.
Yeah.
Take it easy.
Nice guys.
Nice guys. Go watch it. Now.